Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. I know you guys are ready for tonight. It's going to be so much fun. I'm super excited. First and foremost, y'all. We are at episode 7. Welcome back from the mid-season finale of the Christina Danielle show. I am your host, Christina Danielle. If you are watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome on in, and thank you for spending some time with myself and my very special guest on tonight. I pray that you are sharing this out with your friends and family because you know we are not selfish, we are not stingy. We share information, right? And we share knowledge and we share wisdom. And there's going to be a lot of jewels dropped on tonight. A lot of people are going to be freed on tonight. Some of you who are stuck in a place and you were just trying to figure out how to get out of this place. How do you move forward? How do you scale? How do you get it together? How do you unscramble those scrambled eggs in your head? Tonight is the night that you're going to absolutely get all the information that you need to do all those things and more. So please make sure that you share this out. Please make sure that you are tapped in. Remove every distraction. Take your phone and put it on Do Not Disturb. Tell Bay and them they're going to have to call you later on because what you're getting on tonight, you don't want to miss, y'all. You absolutely do not want to miss. So again, my name is Christina Danielle, and what I do is I help women and entrepreneurs to operate profoundly in their confidence so they can prosper in their purpose. Y'all, I have such an amazing time serving in my purpose, my God-given purpose. I'm so excited that I get to do that every single day. And I wasn't always this way, just being completely honest, especially if you're new to me. I was a person that was running from everything God was telling me to do. And I was like, find somebody else, Lord. They be better at that. I ain't qualified. I was that person, right? And the thing about God's purpose is you can't really run for too long. You really can't run for too long. Whatever he needs you to do, he's going to call you to do it. And he's going to make sure that he also gives you the provision to do it, right? So when you actually start to give him the yes, the provision starts to come. The answers start to come. And those things that you've been fighting for all this time to figure out, it actually makes so much more sense. And it's so much more smoother on the other side of obedience. So I wasn't always that way, but this is who I am today. And I'm just grateful that God continued to chase after me even when I kept running. All right. And the reason why I tell that story is because I know there's some people that may have some type of struggles in business, that may have some struggles in life. For me, I lost my mom at a very young age. I was the parent of 2 children while I was a teenager. I've been through the shelter system. I've been through divorce. And I used to be ashamed of these things. I used to shy away from these things. And the reason why I can tell you that now is because I have first and foremost healed, right? So if you're dealing with any type of trauma, any type of trigger, I encourage you and I implore you to get some healing. Therapy is a beautiful thing. It is not something that you should run from. And I'm an avid prayer warrior, but I do believe in therapy. So please make sure that you are seeking therapy for the help that you need so you can heal for you first before anybody else, right? And so I sought help in making sure that I got that therapy. And then from there, I just continued to keep my relationship with God, even in my mistakes, even in my mess. I made sure to keep that relationship with God so that he could transform me into who he wanted me to be, or who he really designed me to be, right? Because I had to discover that thing, right? And so the Christina Danielle show was birthed out of that, out of all the things that I have accomplished. I wanted to be able to have a platform to bring on other dope and amazing thought leaders and entrepreneurs so they can share their jewels and they can share their gems and they can help others, going through the same or similar situations so that they don't have to go down that long drawn out road that we have to go through, right? And tonight is absolutely no different. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm going to give myself a round of applause because I wanted to make sure that the thing that I was struggling with, that I know a lot of you are struggling with, I wanted to make sure that you had access to some information so you did not have to struggle anymore. So let me tell you a quick story, because I like to tell stories, right? One of the things I tell people is don't ever say you don't want to meet new people. Don't ever be afraid to meet new people. Don't ever be afraid to make new relationships, because how I was able to meet this person tonight was through a relationship with somebody else, through somebody else. And so my very good friend, Dana, I'm going to shout her out real quick, right? I met her through a mutual friend, and we were doing a lot of collaborations behind the scenes, having masterminds together. And she introduced me to this amazing person, right? I mean, when I say the brother is bad, he's dope, right? Y'all, if you don't know about Mr. Marty Woodard, get to know him. I encourage you to go and follow him right now. Well, not right now because you're watching the show, but after the show, go follow Marty on Instagram. And I was following Marty, and he was saying some good things. And Christina was in a place where she didn't understand how to put things together. I had that scrambled brain, right? And I couldn't put things together. And I made a comment on one of Marty's posts, and he replied, right? Because he's a real person. Because, you know, everybody on the gram ain't real. That's a token right there. And Marty replied, and he said, if you need help with systems, you need to tap into or reach out to Connie Falls, my good friend Connie Falls. And I said, okay. And I went to her page and I looked at her. I was like, all right. Marty said to reach out to her. And so what I did was I slid up in her DM, because some of y'all are too scared and shy to slide in people's DMs. And one of the things I love about tonight's guest is she's just so real. She's so genuine. Like, her heart shows on the outside. And I don't say that just because she's tonight's guest. That's really how I feel about her. Ever since I connected with Connie, her heart has always shown on the outside. And she has this tagline, one of her taglines that says, love y'all. And she really means that. And I know sometimes you might see, if you've seen her before, you'll see where she says, love y'all, and I really mean it. She really means that. And so I slid up in her DM and I told her my little story. And fast forward, I took one of her classes, Systems in a Day, her Systems in a Day workshop. And baby, I have never in my life looked at the Waffle House the same ever. Ever. Okay. So when I tell you this woman has changed my life, changed my business, like I literally look at everything and I said, oop, this system is broken. Like I literally look at everything as a system now. I'm like, this system's broken. I got to fix it. All right. It's because of the class that I took with Connie. And so I'm so grateful for her, and I'm so grateful to present her to you. So I'm telling you now, y'all, get y'all pens and papers ready, right? Remove all those distractions, because tonight is a night of freedom and it is game time. So without further ado, y'all, I am so excited to announce and present to some, introduce to others, none other than Systems Bay, the queen, the goat of systems, Miss Connie S.
I'm so tickled. Can I just bring you everywhere to do an introduction for me? That was phenomenal.
Welcome, Connie.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Listen, of course. So please, I mean, I've told the people who you are. We know you got a resume that brings checks. And I ain't just talking about check marks. We talk about checks. So please tell the people who you are for those who may not know.
So I am Connie S. Falls, and the S is for systems. Spent the last 14 years creating operational systems for creative entrepreneurs. What does that mean? Everybody's talking about systems. That means policy, process, procedure, all of the generational documentation that you need in order to create generational wealth. Most of us are creating these amazing businesses, but we don't have anything documented, which means that it can't be passed down. So my goal is to help us as a people create operational systems so that way our businesses are sustainable.
Whoop. Y'all hear that? I want to know how many of y'all got systems in place. And don't be lying, talking about all of a sudden tonight y'all got systems in place. No. And we want to see y'all in the comments. If you have questions, this is the time to get this information, because outside of here, if you go hit up Connie, she's gonna cost you a grip. Okay, she's not inexpensive at all. All right. So please make sure you get your questions in tonight. So Connie, can you tell us, like, where did you develop a love for systems, or was it something that you experienced in life that brought you into the operational field?
So I didn't even realize that this was let me tell you a quick ridiculous story about how crazy I am. So college, we'll start in high school, sucked, awful. College, trash. Master's degree, I was like, I got to do something with my time. And they were like, come to do this college stuff. And I was like, I'll do the master's degree. True to life story. So I go to this little online college. It was awesome. Did all the classes, and I leaned towards those that were in operations. I always loved it. I had a teacher that was in college, so it was in operations, Dr. Cardenas. And she wouldn't let me slack. And all of it was about making sure that things were the right way, which I am kind of a rule follower, but as long as things were in order, I could comprehend it. So I went and got this stupid master's degree, and I'm at the graduation. This is no lie. I'm at the graduation and I'm sitting in the audience and I'm looking at the where it says all the people you're graduating. Mm-hmm. So you need to pass them out to all the family. And I don't find my name under Masters of Arts, right? or MBA. I don't find it under MBA. And I'm like, am I not supposed, they gave me the cap and gown. Am I not supposed to be here? So I'm swiping, I'm looking through all these names, and I didn't find mine. And then I found one space that said MAOM, and it had my name under it. And it was a Master's of Organizational Management.
Wow.
So what had happened was, while I had gone to get my master's degree or get an MBA, the way I kept taking classes and dropping classes and adding classes, I had added them to get into the organizational management side, which is ridiculous because I was the only person that had this master's degree. And I was like, oh, maybe I should really find out what this means, right? So that's really where the educational part of it came. But at the foundation of it is I have really bad ADHD. Like at some point, if I just like get up and walk off in the middle of this, just don't judge me because I'm giving you this information on the front end. But it's really bad. And my mind, absolutely squirrel, and I'm out the door, butterfly. Oh, and I'm off, right? So my mind, if there's not a process in place, my mind just is gone. And there were many years where I've lived on the Adderall and had, to try and focus and try and get all this help. But really it was just that things weren't in order. So it wasn't until I started saying, okay, what's step one? What do I need for step one? Okay, what's step two? And if I have it in the perfect order, I'm able to execute better, which turns out when it comes to business owners, especially those of color, we've never documented a process to know what step one, step two, step three is. So me being able to take my deficiency as far as ADHD and put it into operational systems, that's where everything started.
Wow. So you literally, you kind of just like fell into it, right? It was like part of you, but you didn't even know it was part of you. And because of what you were doing, it was like, oh, no, this is where she goes. It's like, oh, wait, that's a thing, right? And then the thing that, you said you had the ADHD, which most people would look at that as a deficiency, right? They would look at it as a reason or an excuse, not a reason, an excuse to not do a thing, where you actually flipped it and said, you know what? Just because I'm going to go squirrel, butterfly, I'm going to be like, you know what? They're not going to get me. I'm still going to serve my purpose. So let's document these processes so that when the squirrels and the butterflies come, at least something's in order to keep me on track. I love
it. Thank you. And it's definitely been a journey. I mean, for me, as far as business is concerned, this is year 14 for me in business, and God is absolutely phenomenal because there have been the ups and downs of this thing, right? There's been days where it's like, I'm finna go work at Target. I might be too good to go work at Walmart, but I'm definitely finna go get me a job at Target because I just don't know. It's bad times, right? There's days where, I was driving my dad's Montero Sport for years with my daughter and splitting the 4 for $4. But I also know that there were days where I was like, let me take 13 people to Mexico. We're about to turn up, right? But being able to go with the ebbs and flows of business and understand that it ain't always up and stuck, right? Some days that it just sucks. Ain't up and stuck. Some days it just sucks. But being able to move and know, okay, let me just get back into my process. Let me go back to where I started from. Let me get back to step one and then move to step two. Whereas most people are trying to go from step 0 to step 30 because we're looking at social media and saying, oh my God, I see so-and-so with a Lamborghini. I see so-and-so, she just went and bought a new Fendi bag. I see so-and-so in Bali for vacation for a month. And we want to just bypass all of that, not realizing that people like me that have tanked, that have been broke, that had to borrow money to make sure that the lights were on, that had to go to my dad and ask for $20 to make sure I was able to put gas in my tank to go to $1 million meeting, but couldn't afford to get there. So those kind of conversations and the stuff on the back end is why I'm glad, to be able to have these kind of conversations, because it gives me a chance to be transparent, because it ain't always beautiful. You're not always going to see on Instagram every down and every downfall and all the losses of people. But these kind of conversations are the one that allow us to show the transparent side of entrepreneurship as well.
I love that. And I love the transparency that you share, because a lot of people do look at, what they see on social media and they're like, I want that. And they'll go broke trying to get it instead of going broke trying to get into something, get into a system, get into a program that can get you to where you want to go so you can sustain it. So I love the fact that you talked about that.
Don't go broke trying to convince broke folk that you ain't broke.
I don't know if the people in the back heard you, Connie.
Don't go broke trying to convince broke folk that you ain't broke.
Oh,
and I've done it. I ain't gonna lie. I've done it.
We've all done it. We've all done it.
Because there's some rooms that you feel like you need to have X, Y, and Z in order to be in. And there are some, once you get to a certain level, that you have to be the part. You see what I'm saying? But as long as you're true to who you are, that's all that matters. There are some rooms that if I don't go in with the red bottoms on, I'm not even going to walk into that room. Most rooms, Connie S falls and the S is for California hippie. I live in sweatpants with a wife beater on. I am homeless face. These lashes and all this other stuff, that's because I have to take pictures tomorrow. All this other stuff, like I don't care about any of that. The core of who I am is making sure that my people are okay, that we're creating businesses that are sustainable so that I know that one day, my daughter is only 11 right now, and by the time she's 40, that she should be able to solicit every single company that I've done the systems for, because they're still sustaining. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So my goal isn't to get out here and be balling and stunting on nobody. No, absolutely not. My goal is that my daughter is able to come 30 years from now and work with the businesses that I've helped build. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's a big difference.
I love that. I love that. Tracy, I love what you said here. That right there proves that some people may call a disability or a shortcoming is really God's blessing. Everything is how you look at it, perception. Yes, yes, Tracy.
And it is because it's a struggle. I mean, especially for me, I'm not, and to this day, I'm not by any means or by anybody's calculations book smart. I ain't got it. What I am is I have common sense, which I consider common, but common sense isn't common, documentation is. Right. So the thing that I felt like, I mean, going to school, I was like a CD student. Like when I say if I needed 225 credits to graduate, I had 225 credits to graduate. I'm talking about from high school and college, both. I didn't get my cap and gown until the day of my graduation. The president of my school came and handed it to me when I was in line at the graduation. That's how close to not graduating I was. But what I did have was the ability to build relationships. I have good character. My ethics are intact, and I love God. And can't nobody deal. Ain't no weapon formed against me, including this cap that she not finna give me if I don't, if I don't approve me, finna stop me from walking across the stage, right? But for me, living my whole life feeling like I was less than, you know what I'm saying? I lived my whole life feeling like because I'm not book smart, because I don't have A's or B's or barely C's, I really felt less than most of my life. And it's only because people would come to me and say, oh my God, you know, we come to you for all the advice. You make the most sense. Your common sense is so great, but I'm definitely not going to ask you for no help on the homework. So I felt less than. So for me to be able to say, okay, great, this common sense thing and the order and these deficit as far as ADHD is concerned, this deficit that I have, it's what's helping me now. Being able to put other people's minds that work like me, because most entrepreneurs do have an issue with ADHD, or they do have an issue with not knowing what order to put tasks in. One of the primary factors when it comes to ADHD is that you aren't able to prioritize well, right? So I'm sure for those of you guys that are watching, you've woken up some days and you lay in your bed and you're like, okay, I got 100 things to do. Which one do I do first? For me, I call it shorting out. I would short out. So I would wake up at 7 a.m. thinking of all the things I have to do. And then it would be 8. And then it would be 9. And then it would be 10. And now that tanks you because you aren't able to move because you're overwhelmed. It'll tank you into depression. So many entrepreneurs and business owners, they're suffering somewhere in between anxiety, somewhere in between ADHD, and somewhere in between depression, but nobody's talking about that part of it. So because I've had so many years, and not just days, so many years where I was immobile, I would lay in the bed and try and figure out, what do I do first? I don't want to keep taking this Adderall. I don't want to feel like I can only function if I'm popping drugs, right? Because that's what it is. It's a drug. And if God says nothing more than you can bear, half of the stuff that I was trying to bear was my own. I'm not supposed to have to live and survive off of drugs, right? I'm not supposed to have Adderall in order for my mind to function. No, I just need an order. I need a process, which is exactly what I create in my business. We create processes. What's step one? What do you do after that? And once we get all of that documented, then we can delegate it to somebody else. So yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent. But
No. That was so necessary because your deficit was your deliverance, right? And somebody needed to hear that. Like even for me, I'm listening to you and I'm like, I have a lot of squirrel moments. People don't realize. They be like, oh my gosh, you're doing so amazing. I'm like, I am. Like I didn't notice. But it's the truth. And so I'm so glad you went into detail about that because again, I said in the beginning, some people are going to be free tonight. A lot of people are being held captive by their own thoughts, by what people have labeled them by. And it could be that exact label that you're speaking on. And so I am so grateful that you went into detail about that before going into the process of systems, because in order for someone to be able to intake what you're about to output, they've got to first release what they've been holding on to. And so I'm so glad you went there. That was necessary.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the backstory for me, which is why I try, because systems. Nobody want to talk about SOPs. Don't nobody care about no process. Nobody want to talk about standard operating procedures and policies. But once you understand how it relates to your real life, that's when people start getting involved with it, right? So people will come to my workshop like you did, and they're like, I don't want to write no SOPs, or I just came here because I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm exhausted and I need help, but you don't want to write anything down. You don't want to document how to do things because most of us, especially in our community, we've been hurt by asking for help, right? We've tried to ask our family, we've asked our friends, and they didn't do it to the level that we wanted, right? They let us down. We've tried to hire a VA or somebody to come into our business and help us, but they didn't do a good job, or they didn't do it as good as what we would have. The real problem is that we never documented it properly to be able to teach anybody else. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
We've never taken the time to really invest into training somebody, and we don't have training because we don't have documentation to even train them on. So all that whole entire process is something that hurts us because now we feel like can't nobody do it but me. Right? And what happens when you feel like nobody can do it like you is that you will do it yourself forever, and you will die behind your laptop. I did a whole thing on that the other day, and I had to make that decision, a real serious decision that I don't want to die behind my laptop. There were days where I physically couldn't leave my house unless I had it with me because I would feel like somebody needs me. What if somebody calls and I can only do something from what if, but I wouldn't leave my house. Or if I did, I had to have my laptop. I would drive, God bless me to be saved. I would drive and I'd have my laptop open. I'd have the hotspot to my phone just in case I needed to reply to something. I would be on the side of the freeway replying to emails because I didn't have anybody that would reply to the emails for me. You know why? Because I thought I was the best person to do it. And the truth is, you may not be the best person for it. I'm not the best grammatically. Even though I'm from California, when I first moved to Georgia, I sounded real proper. I got out here, I sound extra country. It is tragic. But again, I felt like I was the only person that can reply to my clients because they need me and no one else wants to talk to the people but me. You know what? They really would rather talk to Stephanie. They would much rather talk to Aaron or somebody else on my team. It's going to come back so much better than what I sent. But when we feel locked in, and a lot of that is just hurt because we've asked for help and nobody's helped us the way we wanted to. But it's because we never taught them how to take care of our business like we do. So, yeah.
Man, listen. Woo, child. This is so good. And we didn't even get into the meat and potatoes yet. Like, so good. So good. No, ain't no apologizing on here tonight. Everything is God ordained. You already know that.
I receive it.
Please tell us, what is the one thing when it comes down to your clients and those who reach out to you? What is, if there's one thing, the major thing that you see a lot of people come to you with an issue when it comes to systems? Because you are everything systems, so you see it all. So what is that thing that people come to you and you notice is broken in their system?
So because I deal with the operational side, so first let me break down the difference in systems. So there is a system for tools And then there's system when it comes to the operation of the business. So tools are your CRMs, automation, what platform should I host my product or my services on? That's the tool and automation side, running at. That's that side. The other side is operational. That's the policy, process, procedure, right? That's the foundation of the business. Because even if I change my service or my product, the business still needs to run, right? You don't pass down products, you pass down a business. So I work on the operational side. So the biggest problem that people come to me with is that they're overwhelmed. Everybody comes to me because they're tired, because they're doing too much. And 99% of the people, and again, this is 14 years, I've seen the back end of thousands of businesses and I've created hundreds of them. And the biggest thing that people come to me is because they're overwhelmed. And they're overwhelmed because, again, they just never took the time to get real help. They never took the time to write down what they needed to write down to give to somebody else to be able to help them. So if I look at every business that I've worked with, as far as the clients that I do their official systems development with, where we build out the back end of their business, they're not coming to me because they're failing. They're coming to me because they're doing really well. They're doing really well, and they're doing better than what they thought. Most people start businesses because it was a hobby and it's something that they were really good at. And I use hobby loosely. So not like I'm great at knitting, so I decided to knit and now I'm doing blankets for the Hilton Resort. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you were great at doing hair. You went in, like Justin, you went and did an Airbnb, and you were like, you know what? I can actually teach people how to do this. And then all of a sudden now everybody's like, hey man, we heard you got an Airbnb, you making money. And you're like, I am. Man, can you teach me how to do it? Sure. Man, yeah, how much does it cost? I don't know. And then the next person asks, how much does it cost? Hey, man, can you help me? And then it grows and it grows and it grows. And now you're in this big tidal wave of people coming to you to ask you for something that you really didn't even start off with the thought of it being a business. You just thought of it like, yo, here's some extra money, or here's something I'm doing for my household. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So all of that growth, it doesn't come from, oh my gosh, I'm not doing well. It comes from those that have found their niche that they're really, really great at. And then they just start rolling. So when you're rolling like that, you don't stop. It's like when you're skating. So if you're skating and you stumbling, and then all of a sudden you get a little groove, and now you're moving, and now you done turned around, now you got there back, moving back. You know what I'm saying? Now somebody comes along and they're like, yo, teach me how to skate. And you like, I ain't really come in here to, I don't really need to even know how to do this. I just was doing, my
right.
It's just what we were doing, and we came up and we did something great. To where now, once you take off like this, how do you learn how to teach somebody else? The problem is that during that growth phase, because your mindset, and again, everything starts in the mind, your mindset wasn't focused on, let me document the process because I know that this is going to be successful. And one day I'm going to need to be able to teach hundreds and thousands of people how to do exactly what I did. Our mind isn't wrapped around that, so we don't document it. We don't write it down. My favorite example is my grandmother. I never, in our minds, especially when we're young, we never think our grandparents or our mothers are going to die. You think you have plenty of time to be able to write these recipes down. You know what I'm saying? You thought that you had plenty of time to learn how to make hot water cornbread. I thought I had plenty of time to be able to write down my grandmother's tea cake recipe. Even though I burnt the kitchen down one time, I wasn't allowed back in. It's a different story. But I say that to say, we don't have the mindset to say, oh my gosh, I need to start documenting how this works in the event that I'm not here. And that's one post that I'm dreading making. But again, I have to do it because you never know what happens, right? Is that most businesses, especially Black-owned businesses, especially minority-owned businesses, especially women-owned businesses, if we die today, our business would die with us. I don't want to say that, man. But it's the truth. I don't want to say it. I've been dreading this post, but it's the truth because it shows our mortality. Nobody thought Kobe Bryant was about to die. You just retired as the GOAT. What are you talking about? A helicopter with your daughter who worshiped the ground that you walk? Nobody thought of that. Nobody considered that. We think of celebrities as people that never go away. And then we never think about our own businesses. We just work and hustle and grind and we build this thing out. And this is for my kids and this is generational wealth. No, it's not. Because if you die, so does your business. You see what I'm saying? So the reason why the people that come to me is because they either got a glimpse of their mortality, they're overwhelmed because they realize, yo, I can't do this on my own, or they're doing so well and they said, this is something I want to franchise. This is one day I may want to be able to sell this business. But you know what businesses and investors buy? They buy a system. They buy a system. The reason why you can franchise McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and all these companies, the reason you're able to franchise them like that is because they're buying the system. How does this thing work? And can we duplicate it? That's what they're buying. So the people that are coming to me, they're coming for those different reasons. They're coming because they understand their mortality. Like, yo, my grandmother's going to pass away one day and I'm never going to be able to write down this tea cake recipe. They come to me because they're doing well. Like, yo, I have one of my clients, Halani, she misses 2 weeks out on Instagram. She called me in February, like, no, I don't need any systems, but my husband told me to call you, so I'm going to call. Cool. By November, she called like, I accidentally made $1 million and I don't know what happened. I think I need systems now. I've been you know what? Y'all bad kids, y'all do what y'all want to do. But I say that to say, those people that are doing well, they weren't prepared for it. The people that understand that they may want to be able to sell their businesses one day, and those that may want investors. Investors invest in systems. So all those grants that people used to be eligible for back in the day, bring in your business plan and we'll give you a loan from the bank. Man, that stuff is trash these days. Y'all should have got in on that SBA loan. But if you don't have a proven system that works, that they know that they can duplicate, ain't nobody investing in that. So the people that, to answer your question, again, the people that are coming to me, the biggest problem they have are those 4 things. The only way that you could solve it is by documentation. And I know it sounds simple. People be like, they bring me on their live, like, Connie, drop a gem. Write it down. I can't make it. I could dress it up and make it fancy for you, but guess what the end result is going to be? I need you to document this. And there's steps to be able to do that. And like you took my class, we actually go through.
Yep.
It's a lot.
Literally during the class, like you would stop in the class. It was like, okay, we're going to stop. Are you writing this down? Do you need I was like, whoa, I've never seen a class like that. Like it wasn't like slideshow. It was like, no. We're going to stop. Did you write this
down?
No,
we're working right now. Like, because who else is going to make you do it?
Yeah. Who
else is forcing you to do what's going to create the longevity and sustainability of your business? Who's making you do that? One of the biggest reasons people leave their job is because they don't want nobody to be the boss of them no more. The only problem with that is that once you don't have a boss, you don't have nobody telling you what to do. And there's a big gap. You know this much. If my head is a pie, you know this much stuff about your business. Mm-hmm. The rest of this big circle face, you don't even know what you don't know. So who's going to tell you and hold you accountable to the things that you don't know about running a business? Because 99.9% of the time, if you're an entrepreneur right now in this space and you between 25 and 45, your parents weren't no entrepreneur. They didn't own no business. You're a first generation business owner. So who would have taught you that? Who would have raised you to say, hey, you know what, while you're doing this, see how this works out. Oh, you have an Airbnb course? Great. Document every single process that it goes along with run out of Airbnb. I don't care if it's from putting them no smoking signs. I don't care if it's what kind of door signs you need to have out. I don't care if it's the contract you need to have them sign. If you need to decide between this Airbnb and this platform, document every single thing that goes along with that. And then here's the process for how you delegate it to somebody else. Here's the platform that you need to be able to house it on. Here's the contracts that you need them to be able to have. Here's the wording that needs to be in place. If you don't have all of those in place, who would have taught you? Who would have told you that? They don't teach us that in college. Nope. All these goddamn student loans I have, and I ain't learned nothing.
Sally Mae done stole from all of us. And
I'm talking about rob me. Rob me. She owed me some money back.
Ain't asked no permission, nothing. Just
came out. I was 18. No, I was definitely 21, but I still didn't know what I was doing. But anyway. Sorry. Not get off on tangents. I'm back.
No. This is really good, and I'm glad Justin said it. I'm gonna say it too. You need to post that because we need to hear it. Like, we need to hear it. We need to see it. There's a post that you made that is embedded in my mind, and I look at everything Connie posts. I'm a stalker of Connie. She don't know that, but I stalk her, right? There is this post that you made that it only takes I think it's $274 a day. Like, if you waste $274 a day, you're wasting like $100,000.
You waste $10,000 a year.
$10,000, and I was like, mind blown. And that has stuck with me ever since then. And we can get into that. But the reason why I bring that up is because that post that you said, that when you die, your business dies with you if there is no system in place. We talk about, like you said, making these generational wealth, generational legacies, but you cannot serve a generation without a system because they don't know what to do.
You cannot, and this is copywritten, you cannot create generational wealth without generational documentation. You cannot create generational wealth without generational documentation because you don't have nothing to pass down. What you finna pass down? You got nothing to pass down. A recipe, we understand it when it comes to recipes. We understand it when it comes to grandma's cookies. We understand it when it comes to how our father taught us how to go fishing. You understand all those things when it comes to the recipe. Here's how you make hot water cornbread. Here's how you make tea cakes. Here's how you make banana pudding. You understand that has to be in a recipe, but what you don't understand is that your business is a recipe too. There's a way that you make it. There's a secret sauce that goes into it. I don't care how many places I've been to and they serve lasagna. The fact that my grandmother used her knuckles to push and mush tomatoes, I feel like that's the secret sauce to why her lasagna was totally different than every lasagna I've ever had in my entire life, including my own. But that was her secret sauce. And that's what set her apart from everything else. And if we so busy thinking that we're creating these amazing, wonderful businesses, but nobody knows what our secret sauce is, including the people that we plan to pass it down to, what we passing down? Right. Nothing. We can't pass down thoughts, even biblically. How you think we got here with all the stuff we learned from the Bible? Somebody had to write that down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just say, I hope the generation 10,000 years from now knows what Moses said. No. I'm so ridiculous.
I love it.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm crazy.
I love it.
But that's the truth. And I try and make it as palatable as possible because understanding your mortality, most people don't want to think about that. You don't want to think about death. And that's why I've been dreading that post, because I know that that's the one where people are going to wake up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want it to be a scare tactic. You see what I'm saying? I don't want it to see, you need to come up, because I don't care if you work with me or not. I just need you to go somewhere and write it down. Put it in your notes on your phone. Right. There's apps that'll help you be able to do it. But I need you to go somewhere and understand the importance of documenting your business. And that's only, so again, let me make a disclaimer. Let me be very transparent. If you have a hobby, if this is something you're just making a little side money with, and it's not a big deal, cool. You want to write that down. You like to knit? Cool. You have a repair shop and you just running it right now while you're alive. You don't plan to pass it down to your kids? No problem. You don't want to sell your business one day and make millions of dollars? I'm not talking to you. You're not looking at your hair salon and saying, my little daughter who's grown up in here and she loves doing hair, and you don't want her to have that? Ignore everything that I'm talking about. I'm only talking, this conversation, Christina, is only for people that are looking to create generational wealth. Those that are just hobbies, I ain't talking to y'all. I'm talking to those that are looking for their name to live beyond them. Connie S falls, and the S is for living forever through my name. My name will never be forgotten because I'm building something that's greater than I am. My name will live forever and ever and ever and ever. I will be gone 4 generations from now, and there will be 1,000 businesses that will be able to say, if it wasn't for her, we would not be here today. My name will last forever. You see what I'm saying? So for those that just look at their business as something that's hobby, they just doing it on the side, I'm not talking to them. This conversation, the system stuff, throw it out the window. Do whatever you want to do. Make your little money right now while you're alive. Let your kid, I got a trust fund. My kids got money set aside. Cool. When you die and your kids burn through that money, and they don't have any business that's sustainable that allows them to keep generating income, yeah, don't worry about them. I'm just talking to the ones that are looking to build something that's going to last forever.
I ain't bring my fan. My edge is probably getting snatched. But I'm glad that you made that disclaimer, because we got to speak truth, right? Because somebody going to be here like, well, it's just my hobby. Well, there you go. There's your disclaimer. And I'm going to just run back real quick that statement that Connie made. She did say it was copywritten. So if you tweet it out, if you post it, you better give her credit. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Or the lawyers will be knocking. All right?
Don't forget your girl, and don't forget the S. You don't forget the Z and Jay-Z. Don't forget the S.
You better, come on, Connie. That's right. You don't forget the Z and Jay-Z. Don't forget.
I got that from Marcus Y. Rozier. Just so you know. I totally stole that quote from Marcus Y. Rozier, because he always was like, don't forget the Y. I was like, I like that. Yeah.
No, Connie S. Falls. Don't forget that part, y'all. That's the most important. Right,
because the S is the systems. That's what we talk about.
What you mean? What you mean? So let's talk to the person that says, you know what, Connie, you're right. You know, I've been making every excuse, or I didn't even know that I was supposed to do this. How do I get started in starting a system? Like, I know I'm more than likely. Let me just tell y'all real quick about me. I am the person that I don't go very well with excuses. So if you're going to be the person that says, I can't afford to, you can't afford to because you choose not to afford, because poverty is a state of mind. It's not a place that you live in. All right. So you need to work with Connie. Let's just start there. But until you get there, because you might have to make a couple sales and whatever you're doing, Connie, can you please educate the people, enlighten them how they can get started with a system, like some type of a basic system to get started, so before they even get to you.
So before you even get to me, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a sheet of paper, and I want you to write down every single task that needs to be done in your business. Just choose a day. Because if you have a hair salon on Mondays, it may be your day where you clean, you do the disinfect, whatever it is. Find one day out of your business where there are tasks that need to be done. From that task list, I want you to decide who should be responsible for those tasks. Because most of us are going to say, well, I can do it. You can't do it. You're not good at none of that stuff. It's okay. I did the same thing. I need you to write down what tasks need to be done. I need you to write down who should do them. And then I want you to find one thing, and it's the easiest thing ever, but 99% of the people that's watching this, Christina, they're not going to do it. So I'm going to say it anyway. Write down what it takes to get one task done. Just one. Find one thing that is something that can be done over and over again, that you find yourself keep having to do, and you be having an attitude every time you do it, whatever that task is. And then I want you to delegate it. You can go to Upwork, UPWORK. Upwork allows you to hire VAs where they can go in and take care of whatever that task is. For some of you guys, and let me give you an easy example for why this makes sense in your real life. So one of the tasks, and I'll use the personal side so y'all can understand it. One of the tasks that makes me angry is cleaning my house. I know, Black woman, your grandma told you you're supposed to be responsible for all that stuff. But sis, I'm not finna do it. I don't want to do it no more. And if I could, in these 4 hours, it's gonna take me to wipe down these baseboards and do all this other stuff. Let me find the one thing in my day that's taking up most of my time, where I'm feeling overwhelmed and that I don't want to do. Mine was cleaning my house. It would take me 4 hours. And that's just light day. 4 hours to be able to clean this house. It's 3,400 square feet. And that's not even with the baseboards. That's just basic stuff. Laundry and, I don't know who be wearing all these clothes, because I swear I wear pajamas every day. But what is the thing? I said, you know what? I need somebody to take care of this house. What do I need them to do? I walked my entire house. I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to go drawer to drawer to drawer. Okay, this silverware. I need somebody to come in. And every week, because we make toast, I got an 11-year-old. She make toast. She spilled the crumbs off into the drawer. Now the silverware is clean, but it got crumbs on top of it. I don't feel like going to wipe. I don't want to do it. Crumbs in the drawer. Next drawer, junk drawer. I don't know whose stuff all this is. Somebody please come in here and clean out this junk drawer. I don't even know where all these papers, why are there soy sauce packets in here? This is ridiculous. I went through every single place in my house. This closet, who clothes are these? I'm not even wearing any of this stuff. How does it keep ending up on the floor? I have no idea. I went through every single part of my house. Literally took me an entire week to go through every single space. And I decided what I wasn't finna do. And then I started looking for a housekeeper. How much is it going to cost for somebody to come in here and do all this stuff so I can focus on what God called me to do? God called me to help people create sustainable businesses. And every time I spend these 4 hours, I'm angry. It's taking up my time. And I'm low-key wasting money because money is time. And if I'm doing something that I do it begrudgingly, I'm not working in my gift. So let me go work on my gift and find somebody to do this. Guess what? $15 an hour, found a housekeeper. $15 an hour. So let's do the math, shall we? So if it takes me 4 hours every single week, we're gonna do the math. If it takes me 4 hours every week in order to do the laundry, in order to take care of all the things with the maintenance of this house, 4 hours, right? Let's say I make $150 an hour. That's $600 worth of my time. I do one workshop per person. It could be $2,500. I do one consult. It could be $1,200. But I'm using $600 of my time in order to clean this house. Guess what I did? I hired a housekeeper. How much did I say she charged?
$15 an hour.
Charged $15 an hour. It takes her 4 hours in order to clean my house. Guess what I pay her?
$60.
So if I pay her $60 a week to maintain this house, instead of the $600 worth of time it takes me to do it, how many people could I help in 4 hours and work on my gift instead of me wiping down baseboards? I give this example, one, because most of us have been raised to say, oh, no, you don't let nobody come in. It's a woman's job. Well, first of all, 90% of the men I know, they ain't outside on a riding lawnmower. We hire somebody to come and mow the lawn.
Okay.
So women, stop feeling guilty for somebody coming in and taking care of your home. You're not less than a woman. You're not less than a mother. It's perfectly fine to go and use your time to work on your gifts. Totally fine. So I had to give myself the permission to do that. So that's $60. These lashes cost more than $60. She can get these $60 to come in and take it. Some of my lip glosses cost more than $60. Guess what? She can get these $60. Y'all hookahs, y'all Beijings, all y'all stuff costs more than $60. Your shoes, your slippers, your Target bill, your detergent, your fancy make, all of that costs more than $60. Hire somebody to come in and help you so you can focus on the gift that God gave you. So I gave that as a personal example. Let's apply it to business. There are some tasks in your business that you should not be doing. Most of y'all are not email marketers. You don't know how to create no email funnel. You don't know how to do segmentation. You're doing a little tired Instagram boost and post. You don't know what that means. You don't know how to read analytics. You're not no branding and marketing expert. You also don't know how to write copy. My copy just comes out the way it does because I'm a storyteller and I explain stuff and I talk stupid like you hear me talking. It sounds country and Cali. It's awful, terrible, but hope y'all understand me. But I say that to say that I'm not a copywriter. So when it came to writing on my website, I was like, okay. So in the event anybody corporate ever came here, it's going to look real tragic if I write everything myself. So guess what? I'm going to pay somebody else to write the words for my own website. So I paid April Beverly because she already has a system in place. She already has a team in place that knows how to do these things. But what did I have to do before I did that? I had to write down, what do I want? I know that I wanted to talk. I know I wanted to sound in my tone because God forbid that you want to write, and here's the way that we create operational systems. And then you get on the phone with me and I sound as country and Cali as I sound right now. You're like, this is not who
Right.
we're on that website, right? So I had to make sure that it sounded like my tone. I had to make sure these are the points I need you to be able to hit. I need to be able to make sure that we're communicating what this service is. I had to give her a whole breakdown of everything. So I still had to provide her with everything and how I wanted her to do it. But I needed her to use her grace and her professionalism and all the knowledge and gifting that God gave her in order to help create the copy for the website. Some of you guys are doing tasks that you aren't called to do. So the first thing I want you to do is write down all the tasks you are doing and what you're not doing. Because half of the tasks that you don't do, They don't get done and they end up on the what? The been done did list. That's one of my favorite words. The been done did list. You know what that is? It's the list of all the stuff you should have been done did. And you ain't did it because you don't want to, because it's not your grace.
Right.
So you just out here playing around trying to be an email marketer and you ain't. So it just doesn't get done. You don't segment, you're not targeting, you're not tagging. And then you're wondering why your business not taking off. It's because you're trying to do things that God ain't called you to do. He calls you to do some very specific things. I couldn't be on here. Literally, if we're talking 10 years ago, I couldn't have been on this call because I would have been handwriting, paper and pen, handwriting standard operating procedures, handwriting marketing plans, handwriting business plans, handwriting financial plan. Like literally, because I'm the only one. My precious, only I can do this. My precious. This is how ridiculous I was. Right. And this is me teaching other people how to do it. But I was a hypocrite. And you remember Christina, you remember the old Bibles where Jesus used to write in red? I don't know how you had it back in the day because I don't think he made them to the 70s.
I still got one.
Yeah, but it was a red writing, but it was a real thin paper, and you only could get that paper from a Bible that your great grandmother had. Yep. Paper was extra thin; it had like gold lining on the outside of it. Yeah. That's the good Bible right there. Well, see, Jesus would yell at people because so his voice to me sounds like somebody from New York. So like, yo, I told you not to do this, right? Yo, I tried to tell you, right? So that's the translation I have. He's like or something.
But it's accurate.
It's accurate. It'd be like, yo, I told you not to turn around. What did you expect? Like that's how I hear him talk. But whenever he would be hollering at people, hypocrite, it would be all capitalized and red. And I would hear this when I would tell people to do things that I wasn't doing in my own business. You heard of the shoemaker with no shoes? Mm-hmm. That was me. Because it's easy for me, and it's easy for most folks to tell folks what to do. I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to tell somebody what to do. When I get off of this call right now, I'm gonna go find somebody out here to go tell them what to do. It's natural for me, but I don't want to do it myself. I don't want to do it. And it wasn't until I started getting overwhelmed. ADHD started kicking in. Anxiety started getting high. Now I'm balancing Adderall with Xanax, trying to make sure that I keep myself balanced. Like that's not the life I'm supposed to live. And because most entrepreneurs are moving in this kind of space with this kind of mindset, this is the struggle that we have. This is why operational systems is a priority. That's why step one is just writing it down, figuring out what needs to be done and who needs to do it. If your goal is to work on your gift, if your goal is to focus on the grace that God gave you to be able to provide something to his people, you need to know exactly what that is. You need to know what your impact is. Who am I supposed to serve? How am I supposed to serve them? And then you don't do nothing outside of that. I'm not going to write no emails to nobody. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to email you either. It's not going to happen. Because the time I spend stopping everything that I'm doing, pulling out my laptop, getting in the mindset of writing a politically correct email, I could have been talking to one of my clients. I could have been talking to the community. I could have been in my daughter's softball game. I could have been speaking somewhere. I could have been doing so many other things, but I'm so focused on task, which is the struggle of most Black entrepreneurs. You want to do everything yourself and you can't. I know. I'm sorry, y'all. You can't.
You know, hurt some folks' feelings tonight because they like, so you telling me I can't do it all by myself? Yes, that's exactly what she's saying. Or you can, but it won't be the best because you're so busy trying to do it all yourself.
And you can't do everything yourself. Here's my thing. All right. No, I'm talking way more than I'm probably supposed to.
Go there.
Here's my thing, y'all. How do you think you can do everything on your own when even Jesus wasn't by himself? Who you think you are out here in these streets? Who created anything great on their own? Nobody created anything great on their own. Even Jesus at home was walking with him, and guess what? They were supporters. You see what I'm saying? So we can't be out here thinking that we could just create all this wonderful generational wealth and things are going to last forever and do it on our own. We can't. And I know you've been hurt. I know you tried to hire somebody and you had to fire them. I know. Even Jesus had homeboys that was shady as all outside.
Peter? Somebody else?
You say something to them about, wasn't me, I don't know what it is. We all had that from the beginning of time. You feel me? However, to get to where you're supposed to go, you have to have people that support and help you with this dream. You have to. Everybody does. Everybody does. Nobody created anything great by themselves. All that self-made stuff is trash.
Talk about it.
It's trash. Self-made. There's no such thing as self-made because I don't care. My housekeeper, I ain't self-made because guess what? When I was on my calls for the last entire year, every Tuesday, she's in there making sure that my house is organized. Because if my house isn't organized, my mind isn't organized. If my mind isn't organized, I can't organize your brain. And that's what I'm actually called to do. So her being of service to me means that I'm not self-made because she is a part of my success. The fact that my ex-husband's girlfriend just texted me saying, hey, Ashley left her vitamin container at your house. She's a part of my success because while I'm traveling on a trip to make sure that I'm bringing income into our house and building out our business, because it's me and my daughter's business, while I'm building this, my daughter is with her dad and his girlfriend and she's taken care of. So I'm not self-made because there's somebody else who's supporting my daughter and making sure that she's still able to get to school. She's still learning. So I'm not self-made. I lived with my dad after I got divorced when my business was still getting back on his feet. I'm not self-made. My dad let me use his car. He put gas in my car. I'm not self-made. How dare I discredit all the backs that I stood on to be able to get to where I am right now? Absolutely not. Ain't nobody self-made. So if we have the mindset to know that we're not self-made, that means that we need help, right? How do we ask people for help? You wouldn't take your newborn baby and just walk into the daycare and be like, all right, then here you go. Let me know how it work out. I hope you got a process for how you take care of these folks.
Found that one.
Good luck. You wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't do that with your baby. And most people think their business is their baby, but it's not. It's a business. It's a standalone entity of its own that you want to pass down to somebody else. It's a standalone business that maybe you want to have investors come in and invest in, that you want to scale. What's your exit strategy? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if we have the mindset that we're building something that's greater than us, it's built with other people. It's built with a team, but you can't hire a team if you have never documented what's up here.
I love that breakdown. And I'm so glad you touched on the whole Jesus thing, because I was going to say it, but it's better coming from you because maybe people will listen when you say it. But, it's not just us by ourselves, right? I should have gave y'all this disclaimer in the beginning. Once you hear from Connie, you're going to look at everything as a system from this day forward. I promise you. Like, I took her class, connected with her, and I don't look at anything the same. Everything is always like, like literally today. So I'm going to tell her myself real quick. So I'm learning how to put all my SOPs together since taking her class and figuring things out. And again, if you're just starting brand new, it's not something that you're going to learn overnight. Like, it takes time. Like, I'm going through her book and I'm like, I hear her talking to me like, yeah, you're right, Connie. This ain't easy and it's not cute and I really don't want to do it. Like, I literally go through her book like that, right? That's why it takes me so long to go through the book, because she's absolutely right. And exactly what you see here is exactly what's in the book. So if you don't have Scrambled Eggs, I'm telling y'all need to get that book. You need to get Scrambled Eggs because it is phenomenal. You ain't going to be happy, but you'll be happy, if you know what I mean. And literally, I was talking to my cousin maybe like a little over an hour before the show. And I'm like, something we were talking about. And I literally had a light bulb go off in my head because I was like, Connie didn't get the link. The link was supposed to go out yesterday to Connie to log in for the show. But because it wasn't in my SOP, my assistant couldn't follow the system to send it out, which now required me to step out of what I was supposed to be doing, which was being there for her at that moment. I had to step out of my purpose to go do something that should have been a part of the system.
That's a good one.
And I literally left her. I was like, oh my God, my system is broken. Help. So I say that to say, y'all, you can't even hear from Connie. You can't be here and not feel some type of transition. And I'm telling you right now, you're gonna look at everything as a system, and it's gonna be for your benefit. It's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna get annoyed. You're gonna get frustrated, but I promise you, it's gonna be for your benefit because I look at everything as a system now. And Connie, I am so grateful to have connected with you and learned from you, and keep stalking you for the rest of my life because my business ain't gonna die with me.
Oh, it's not, and it can't, because once you know you're accountable, once you know you're accountable, once you understand that hey, this business is bigger than me, this is something that I really want to create generational wealth with, and there's no generational wealth without generational documentation. Once you know that, once you know better, then you have to do better. You have to go out and say everything you look at is a system, whether you're looking at McDonald's or you're looking at how to fold the bed, whether you're looking at how to swaddle your baby, whether you're looking at how to go and get every single thing, every recipe, every task that has to be completed, there's steps. And you'll know that there's steps because you didn't try to tell somebody how to do it and you missed a step and then they did it wrong and you was mad at them. I've done it. I done fired everybody from random folks to my daddy. You didn't follow directions.
But like, what directions?
What direction?
What step was
don't pull. I said, Daddy, don't pull up in front of the house. You got a big heavy truck. Don't pull up in front of the house because they just set grass down. He was like, all right. He went and parked on the other side of the grass. That's not the front of the house. You can't park on the grass at all. Well, you said don't park in the front of the house. The grass go all the way around. Well, I didn't know that they did the grass on this side. You said they did it in the front. Whose fault is that?
That would be yours because you weren't specific in your directions, which is part of the system.
Because common sense ain't common, documentation is.
Woo! Y'all hear that? Common sense ain't common. She said it before. She said it again. Common sense ain't common. Documentation is. Because we've all heard the quote, common sense ain't common. We've heard that. But you've never heard the extended version that really helps you out that says documentation is.
Please. Right? That's all I'm asking you.
Listen, we save a lot of relationships if you follow some systems.
When I tell you, it doesn't just apply, it applies to everything. Yeah. Your personal relationships, your business relationships. What are the steps to get X, Y, and Z done? If you do them that way, the same result will happen. It's the same reason why Chick-fil-A in Georgia tastes the same as it does in California. There's a system involved. There's a process involved. It's the same reason why they're going to say my pleasure in Georgia and they're going to say my pleasure in California. That's not by happenstance. It's because it's a policy. Culture falls under policy. The Chick-fil-A culture, it's a policy. It's a rule. And most of us don't have rules for our business, which is why we get upset when people treat our business all willy-nilly, because we've never set any policies in place to make sure that they aren't treating our business any kind of way. But again, that starts with us. But if you don't know any better, you can't do any better. So I hope from you guys hearing this that you will do better.
Listen, kind of get your homework, and I hope y'all get that pen and paper because it ain't hard. Piece of paper and a pen. And write down what she told. Listen, I am a firm believer in God's word that says, write the vision and make it plain. He never said, write the vision and make it complicated. Write the vision and go think about it. He said, write it and make it plain. Just write it down.
Oh, let me just expound on that one too, because you know that's my favorite scripture. You know what I'm saying? So the scripture is Habakkuk 2:2. Mm-hmm. That is my favorite scripture, not only because it applies to my personal life, but it really breaks down why documentation is important. So what we do know is the front end of it, which we know how we like to pick apart the Bible, is write the vision and make it plain. Most people never think about the next part of it, which is so that those that come after you can run with it. What does that mean, Connie? That means that what you're documenting today is not for you. It's for those that are going to run with it after you. Write the vision and make it plain. Yeah, you understand it. You got it. It's all up here. You're the one that created it. You get it. So yeah, write it down, but you're not writing it for you. Write it for those that are coming after you. He said it clean. You can read the ERV, the King James, the EIDL, the SID, the PPP, however, whatever version of the Bible you want to read it, is very specific in saying, do this today, not for you. Those that are coming after you, because today's not about you. You've learned all this. This is about the generations, because we like generational wealth. This is about the generations that are coming after you. I need you to do this for them. So what I'm asking you isn't about what you know today and why you're doing it now. This is about where your business is growing to. This is about the generations that are coming after you. This is about the great, great, great grandkids. And if you don't have any kids, cool. This is about the businesses that may want to buy your business, the investors that may want to invest in your business, the people that come along and they want to scale your business. It's about the future. Because again, you don't want your name to die with you. Mine won't. I don't want yours to either.
I'm so glad you expounded on that, because I needed to hear that. And I'm sure I'm not the only person either. But thank you so much for that, because we don't, you're right. Especially us Black folk, we like to take a part. We take the part that sound cute, the part that everybody say, but we forget what comes after.
We get it from the earth. He said everything on the earth is from me. That's not what it said.
That's not what it said. It's not what it said. But we pick apart what we want to pick apart to fit our own lifestyle and not what God's purpose is.
Exactly. And I didn't mean the Bible beat y'all tonight. I just want y'all to be clear on where my heart is. I love God. I cuss a little bit, but understand what my heart is. He know my heart. Y'all know how we say it.
He know my heart.
He know my heart.
He know my heart. This has been so amazing, Connie. Oh my goodness. I was already excited before. I'm even more excited now. And I'm just so grateful for your yes, because again, you could be doing anything else with your time. And the mere fact that you gave your yes and you gave your gems and you gave your wisdom, I am so indebted to gratitude for you. We prayed before we came here, and I already got you up there like, God, 100-fold, God, 100-fold. You got to recompense, give it all back.
I receive every single bit of it. Every single bit of it.
All back. But please tell the people how they can connect with you. Tell them what you got to offer. Whatever you want, brag on you. Hey.
So I actually do have another Systems in a Day workshop. I do believe this will be my last one, because I'm going to create a course out of it. The Lord been troubling me about that, and I ain't did it. So now I'm nervous, because I'm like, okay, I ain't did what he told me to do, so I don't want no trouble. Mm-hmm. So this next Systems in a Day workshop, which is what Christina was talking about, will be on September 21st. It is a Tuesday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. You can actually use code KING, because that's who we worship. You can use code KING, and that will give you half off of the workshop. You will be able to use that up until, I think it's Friday, till tomorrow, to give you half off of the workshop. That's off of general and VIP. And that's when we're literally going to help you go through my 3 signature phases of ideation, strategy, and execution. Most of us go through, we come up with a business, we go get us some little tired business cards, we go get us a little tired little website, and we just go put our little t-shirts and post our little stuff, and it's just trash, right? Because we just execute first. And then when we realize that it's trash, we go back and we're like, oh, we probably need a plan to go along with this. Maybe we should figure out how we work this out. And then you go try and create the strategy. And then once you realize you didn't really strategize properly because you never thought about it, then you want to go back to ideation. So in my class, I teach you how to go ideation, strategy, and then execution. So we literally go through the entire thing. It teaches you how to create policy, process, procedure. It is a 4-hour workshop. This ain't motivation, baby. Don't come in here thinking I'm going to talk to you and show you some slides. This is real life work. You will have to have paper, pen, Post-it notes. It is a real workshop. I speak, but I also teach. It's extremely interactive. So don't come in thinking you just going to be watching the kids and watching TV. You're going to be at work all the time. That's not what this is. This is work, and I capitalize work. So that way nobody asking me no questions, talking about, Connie, I thought I was just going to talk to us. I'm not going to talk to y'all. Y'all got this talk today. This is going to be the end of it. The workshop is actually work. So if you use code KING, you can go to systemsinaday.com. systemsinaday.com and use code KING, type that in, and that'll give you half off the workshop. Other than that, you can grab the book. It's on my website, conniefalls.com, conniefalls.com. And you can follow me on social media, Connie S. Falls on Instagram. Oh, thank you, Christina. Connie S. Falls on Instagram. And make sure you follow me. And I'd love to make sure that I keep in contact with everybody that I possibly can. And that's what it is.
Listen, y'all, first and foremost, if y'all up in here and y'all got this code, like when you see what you learn in her Systems in a Day workshop, it is, I believe that it's worth way more than what she charges. Way more than she charges.
I receive it. I get frustrated about it all the time.
Way more than what she charges. And then you're getting a code on top of that. You're playing yourself if you don't use this code.
Don't share the code.
Don't share. This is for y'all. Don't share this to nobody. This is right here. It's for y'all who came here. You listened. You were attentive. You had your pen and paper. And you like, you know what, Connie? I'm ready. So this is for you. Don't go calling your cousins and I'm like, girl, I got a code. No, because they will.
And don't post it. And don't post it.
Don't do that.
Like, don't screenshot this.
Don't screenshot this. Hope y'all got it because I'm taking it down.
Yeah, it's king, so y'all know. But yeah, don't
screenshot it. Just for here. All right. But as a student of hers, I can absolutely tell you, I got big Post-it notes everywhere in my living room now, along with the colored ones because of Connie. And I literally am able to take things from my brain. And again, it's not something that happens overnight, but it does happen over time. We stress that because we don't want nobody to be like, I didn't get it yet. It's okay. It's a process. That's why it's called a system.
Exactly. So, it's a process to create a process.
That's it. Over time, you will get it. And I'm telling you, you want to invest in this. I'm saying this more often. I won't say I say it all the time. I'm saying this more often because it's something I've been practicing and I've got to say to the people now. You invest at the level of your faith. So don't worry about what it costs. You need to increase your faith. You need to start believing more in what God has called you to be, who God has called you to be. And if you're not sure what that is, get to the good word. And again, like Connie said, it's not about us preaching the Bible to you, but a lot of you are not understanding your own identity. And so that way you cannot do anything else beyond that because you don't know who you are. So when you figure out who you are, then you know that whatever you got to pay, it's not your bill. That ain't even your bill. It's not. So you invest at the level of your faith, believe in God, believe in you, get into this workshop, y'all, because I'm telling you, your life is going to be changed. Mine is changed. And Connie, I just cannot thank you enough because my business, my dreams, my purpose will not die with me.
No, it won't.
I'm so grateful for that. So grateful. So again, thank you. I mean, I don't know if y'all had any questions, but y'all ain't post nothing. So y'all should have got in while you could have got in because now you're going to have to pay for it outside of this. I'm just thinking. And if you're in Atlanta this weekend, Connie, you are speaking this weekend.
I am. I'm speaking at the Black Homecoming Experience this weekend. I'm actually speaking tomorrow in DC, and then I'll be in Atlanta for the Black Homecoming Experience, and that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. The information is on my page as well.
So y'all, you got so many ways to tap into Connie. Make sure that you do that. Don't be here and just be a spectator. Actually do something about it. All right. We love you to no end. We pray that you got everything that you want to Connie. If you want to leave one last gem before we go. If not, we just close out. What you got for us? Did you got anything for us?
You cannot create generational wealth without generational documentation. And I'd love for you to do that with me. I am Connie S. Falls, and the S is for what? Systems.
Good night, everybody.